Good evening, fuckers. We are back with the next Train Simulator Classic request video, and this one is one of mine. Now I got this idea after doing the previous video, the one that Mick DC requested, because one of the routes that he sort of gave me the choice of was northeast England, and the reason I didn't choose it, just in case you've not seen that video, is that there are multiple starting points and consequently multiple finishing points. So while he wanted to see like the complete route done in one run, with Northeast England route you can't really do that. No matter where you start and where you finish, you're going to miss a lot of you know, the scenery that the route has to offer. So I thought, right, I'll do another one in Northeast England, and I'll kill two birds with one stone, because there have been plenty of freight runs done in these videos, but none of them have started and stroke or finished in actual freight yards. They've all been station to station. So there have been plenty of occasions where, you know, the video has ended with a freight train pulling up into, you know, a major terminus with a load of passengers waiting on the platforms, including of course a certain Class 58 video where, yeah, we had a Class 58 getting derailed at a platform in Euston Station. Yeah, it really did not go well. So for this one we are going to do an actual full-on freight run. We are starting at York Holgate, which is like a sort of stop-off point for freight trains. There's like 3 or 4 sidings just off the main line, and our destination is Tees Yard, which is on the route that would take us to Redcar if Redcar was on you know, included in this route, which unfortunately it's not, but yeah, we are heading in that direction. So this is a route of about 48 and a bit miles. And for the loco, it's a train that I've wanted to include for quite some time. No one seems to be requesting it, so I thought, right, fuck it, I'm going to choose it. So it is the Class 60, and we have 10 rather large and rather full aggregate hoppers behind us. 10 is not a lot for a Class 60, to put it mildly. Nevertheless, we are still going to be getting a few sort of like bumps from behind from this lot, because although it's not a great deal in terms of the sheer number, the weight is significant. And as for the specifics, it's spring, it's cloudy, and it's 1 PM. So right, let's get this underway. So here we are in the cab of the Class 60. I also forgot to mention, during this run we are being treated as a freight train, so we have the lowest priority. We are constantly going to be moved to the slowest lines, and the speed limits are very much the freight train speed limits, which we've never had before when doing any of these freight runs. So yeah, this really is a proper full-on freight run here. So let's get the cab sort of set up for the moment. We'll get the right, put cab lights on, we've got the instrument lights on, we want the instrument lights bright. And it's daylight, so yeah, right, that is all of those. Now, unfortunately, the Class 60 does not have the brake timings feature, or at least if it does, I haven't been able to find it, and believe me, I've looked everywhere. And yeah, I have not found them. So I can only go on the assumption that, yeah, this doesn't have them. So here is our Class 60. And if you're looking at it thinking, wow, that really does look like a Class 92, well, there you go, it is clearly a Class 60. But yeah, there's a very good reason why you might be thinking that it looks like a 92, and it's not just the livery, although let's face it, that doesn't help. The Class 60 and the Class 92 both use the exact same body shell. So yeah, the only difference in terms of how they look is that the cab area on the 92 has been slightly redesigned. Other than that, visually they are identical. So here are our aggregate hoppers. So they're all full, and they are the largest ones that I think we have in the game, and I'm carrying 10 of them. So we're not particularly long as freight trains go, but we do certainly have the weight. So right, everything here is set up. The brakes are the standard brakes, they're not the type that the 92 uses, which is a shame really, because I much prefer those to these ones, but still. Here we go. So, other comparisons to the Class 92 really do not come out in favour of the 60. We're now on a 25 mph section, so we can throttle up a little bit. The power from the engine in the Class 60 is 3,600 horsepower, which is still plenty good enough, but yeah, it's barely half that of a 92. In fact, the engine that the Class 60 uses is basically a slightly modified version. We're getting the old wheel slip here, not what we want. Yeah, it's a modified version of an engine that first appeared in a Class 37. So it was not bang up to date when this thing came along. Indeed, it's fair to say that the development of the Class 60 was a fantastic example of how not to build a new train. If there was any way they could have fucked it up, they did. So this thing basically came about as a result of the Class 59. You think back to the or refer back to the video that I did when I was in the Class 59, and that thing, say, just completely revolutionised rail freight. And it came about because the aggregate company that got the things were quite rightly sick to death of the Class 56s being so unreliable. So they went ahead and yeah, they bought the 59s, or what became Class 59s anyway. And British Rail, I mean, there was nothing they could do about it. They weren't exactly thrilled, but they decided that yeah, they needed to do something about it, i.e. create one of their own version of Class 59. And at first the idea that they had was to go to General Motors and get them to build it, but rather wisely they decided against it, because they thought, or rather they knew, that the trades unions wouldn't they just, you know, would not be okay with that in the slightest. So they came up with an alternative idea, and they put together a design brief and contacted, I think it was 6 different manufacturers. Of those 6, only 3 of them actually bothered to reply, and the manufacturer that got the job was Brush Traction, British company. I'll also point out that of the 6 companies that British Rail contacted with regards to building this new loco, General Motors was one of them. They were also one of the 3 companies that didn't bother replying. So yeah, we got this rather, I mean, not short enough for me, but yeah, 20 MPH section. But yeah, this is very typical of the actual freight runs. We're having to go fairly slow for a lot of this, and we are constantly being taken off the main line. It would look even better if we did actually have any other trains appearing, but unfortunately, yeah, on this route they don't. I wish they did. Anyway, on with the story of the Class 60. So Brush Traction have won the contract to build this new train, and the first one was delivered to British Rail in just 14 months, which by UK standards was lightning fast, and everyone was like really pleased. They were like, oh, this is fantastic. British you know, locomotive manufacturer, they've managed to put together this new train in 14 months. So they were yeah, well pleased with it. So they took delivery and straight away put it on the test runs, and they found 1 or 2 faults. When I say 1 or 2, I mean they found over 100 faults with it. And it took 2 years to rectify all of the faults that were found on that initial test runs. So by the time the now named Class 60 actually went into service, it was over 2 years late and was still unreliable, very unreliable. And yeah, it was, to put it mildly, not very popular. I mean, everything about it should have been great. It all sort of looked great, you know, the performance figures were great. Everything about it just looked right. It looked like it was going to do like a decent job. And it failed miserably. No two ways about it. Speaking of failing miserably, I don't think I'm going to be able to break in time for this 30 MPH section, or it's going to be tight. I'll also add, I'm sure it's obvious, but you never know, there's bound to be someone who's going to ask, but oh yeah, we done it, but Jesus Christ, that was close. Yeah, there are no stops on the way. So we are just going straight to T's yard. Now the top speed of class 60 is not remarkable. It is 60 mph, but as I've mentioned on just about every freight run video I've done, yeah, sheer speed is not the priority of freight locos. The power of the engines is all about generating the torque to pull like really hefty loads, and in that regard the 60 was a success. It's just that there were so many occasions where it didn't work long enough to really take advantage of it. One of the very few areas where the class 60 does have an advantage over the 92 is, of course, the fact that this is a diesel electric. So this can run on any line you like. It does not need electrified lines, which of course the 92 does. And in a way, that was a sort of saving grace for the class 60. It wasn't enough to save it, especially when the 66 turned up. The class 60 was very much living on borrowed times when the 66 showed up, but then so was just about every other freight train running on the UK rails, including the 59. So if the 59 was living on borrowed times with the arrival of the 66, then yeah, the 60 didn't stand a fucking chance in hell. But despite all of its issues, I do like the 60. Not as much as I like the 92, but yeah, the 60 is not a bad train at all. It's just that it would be absolutely fantastic if it had some form of reliability. I mean, even the class 56 had better reliability than the 60. And bearing in mind that the class 56, when we got the first two of those, once they were hooked up to a train, they couldn't even move. and they were still more reliable than the 60. So we are currently doing 61 mph, even though the max speed of this train is supposed to be 60. I suspect it's written up here, max speed 60 mph, but I think that's, yeah, max permissible, yeah, the max permissible speed, the actual speed this thing can do, is probably nearer 70. Given that, yeah, by the class 60's standards, this is quite a light train, yeah, I think I don't know if we'll actually be able to get up to 70 mph, but I think we'll get fairly close to it. unless the speed is capped somewhere. So we're now at 65. Now, of course, the big problem with doing this sort of speed is what happens when it comes to trying to slow down. We're now shaking like fuck only knows what, so let's ease off on the throttle a little bit. Okay, take up to notch 4. We'll be alright there. Something else that the Class 60 has in common with Class 92. I wish we had some better liveries for them in this game. Again, like the 92, I have found liveries online for it, and they look great. Yep, you need Armstrong Powerhouse fucking enhancement packs to use them. My hatred of Armstrong Powerhouse grows by the day. Now I have a feeling that 65.4 is probably the fastest we can go while we are in notch 4. I don't really want to take it up to notch 5 in case, yeah, we start doing that sort of wobbling thing again. I don't really need us doing that. We do seem to be sort of travelling in a very empty open area at the moment. But, I mean, I remind you, this is a freeware route that I'm using. And, you know, they've done such a fantastic job of it. And if you need any further evidence of that, well, firstly, take a look at the other video I've done using this route, the Sunderland to Middlesbrough route in the Class 105 DMU. And secondly, wait until we are approaching Tees Yard itself, because the detail around there is unbelievable. I say it makes a mockery of some of the routes that you have to pay for. So we're on a 1 in 845 uphill gradient, which normally wouldn't have the remotest effect, but we have lost I mean, we've lost 0.1 mph, but it's still more than we normally would do. So according to the ETA, we've got about 49 minutes to go. We have just under 35.5 miles. But I can tell you, while we are around T's yard, there is a lot of areas where we are having to go quite slowly. I'm talking 10 miles an hour slowly. Well, while we're on this fairly straight section, let's have another look at the cab of the Class 60. I think it's a great looking one. I mean, for a freight train like this, you expect it to be like, you know, purely functional and looking very sort of rudimentary and almost industrial. But no, I think it looks fantastic. I mean, again, it's not as good as the Class 92, but I mean, the 92 has just about every feature you could possibly want, and then some. But the only thing the Class 92 doesn't have, and yet this one, the 60 does have it, is here the slow speed control. Now, actually, I'm fairly sure the 92 would have it. I just haven't found it. So we are continuing to lose speed. I mean, we are losing it at such a slow rate that it really doesn't matter. ETA is still going up, so we are going to, well, we're certainly on course anyway to finish this run faster than was originally estimated. Right, now that the ground has leveled out, we have gained a little speed. But yeah, if we were doing a freight run on any other route DLC, it would have put us in the two middle lanes, you know, the express lanes. Here it's got us in the right lanes. We're in the slow, you know, we're on the slow lines here. So I just wish there were other trains on this route in quick drive, because yeah, we could get, like, you know, some high speed ones shooting past here. I think we are on this section here, we are on the East Coast main line, so we could have, like, you know, 801s come shooting by. Now, if this is the East Coast main line, and given how straight it is, and yeah, the fact that there are 4 lines here, I think we are, then we're going to have to turn off here at some point, because obviously we are going straight north, but at some point we do have to start going east. He's gone through a neutral section, but we're in a diesel train, so it really doesn't matter. Okay, so you have a 60 mph section coming up. See if we can, we're certainly not going to come down to 60 by coasting, but it will mean that we don't have to brake quite so much. I mean, those double yellows on the fast line there would suggest that there's a train somewhere around here. Actually no, it would be just after this signal here. Just wish that we would be able to see it. So we were able to cruise it. We're absolutely fine now. We'll reduce the rate at which our speed goes down. In fact, let's see if we can yeah, so speed is now increasing. As long as it doesn't go above 60.9. It's actually increasing a lot quicker than I thought it would. Right, let's take it back down to notch 2. So there we are, we're into the 60 mph zone. We have Thirsk station coming up. That's where the race course is, isn't it, Thirsk? And not, as my mum used to keep saying, Thurso. Thirsk does look like quite a small station. But, well, because I've let the speed drop a bit, you know what I'm going to try and do. So, here it comes. Let's, go. So we are now entering a 90 mph section, but obviously there is no way this thing is going to be doing 90, but we can at least try and increase our speed a little. So we're now just under 25 miles from Tees Yard. Like I did with the Sunderland to Middlesbrough run, I'll put a link to the download page for this route. Just make sure that you've got all of the dovetail DLC that it requires, but it is only dovetail stuff, so you can get it from Steam, which means that when it's on sale, it really is on sale 50% at least off, unlike fucking Armstrong fucking money grabbing powerhouse who have a sale about once every 45 years, and when they do, it's 10% off at the very most. Very open area again that we're in. It looked like a disused station that we just passed on the right there. Okay, so we have speed decrease in 1.5 miles to 70. We're obviously below that anyway, so we got nothing to worry about there. I'm not seeing anything so far that sort of shows why that 70 mph limit is there. Now we have another, one coming up. Well, that one we do have to respond to. That's the alert for it. Now, this suggests that this is the turning we've been waiting for. Not this 70 section, but that 50 section. We haven't got to take a hell of a lot of speed off, so I think even though I'm keeping the braking down very low for obvious reasons, there we go, we're fine for the 50 MPH section, which is still half a mile away, but there you go. Take it up to knots 2, get us back up to actually doing 50. So yeah, we are certainly not on the East Coast main line now. So this is the branch that is taking us towards Tees Yard. So we've got a 60 MPH section fast approaching, but it's barely a mile long before we then have to drop down to 40. But then we'll be able to go back up to 60 again. Well, in just like a few hundred yards by the looks of it. Alright, that might be a bit of an exaggeration, but still. It does mean that even though I can speed up here, I'm not going to, because yeah, we'd have to apply some pretty hefty braking. I don't really want to do that while we are pulling this little lock. So let's start to slow us down. So already, yeah, we're fine. Okay, slowed a little more than I would have liked. I mean, that 40 MPH section is still, like, you know, half a mile away. I think I redefined braking early with that one. So here comes the 40 MPH section, and yeah, we're now in it, but it is fairly short. I think this bend here is why it's here. Oops, that's me not paying attention. See, that bend was nowhere near sort of sharp enough to require 40 MPH, so yeah, I'm a bit lost as to why that was there. So yeah, we're into the 60 MPH section now. Well, I'll treat it as 55, seeing as that's coming up pretty soon. Okay, I'll treat it as a 50 MPH section then. So we're in the 55 zone, which is fairly short, and then it becomes a 50 MPH zone, and that's how we're treating it. Now this 70 zone that's coming up is, I can't imagine it being that long. T's yard is less than 15 miles away. So we're almost certainly going to have to start slowing down. Although, I mean, I'm going on the fairly safe assumption that the entrance to T's yard is not the same way as the exit. So it might be that we can enter T's yard faster than we could leave it. Right, we're into the 70 MPH zone, and now we can throttle up, not up to notch 5 though. So you can see where, yeah, they've been a bit sparse with the buildings to the side in this area. Again, to be honest, I don't really care too much about that. I'm more interested in, yeah, what's close by. You know, rather than, you know, what's you know, off in the distance there. So we're on a 1 in 270 down the hill section. So yeah, we are still gaining speed. So let's take it down to what would be notch 1. Yeah, now we're starting to slow a bit, which I think we are going to need. But we are definitely arriving a lot faster than yeah, when I did a test run and I started at T's yard. And bear in mind, we are now only 9.5 miles away from T's yard, but the ETA is saying that it's still going to take us yeah, about 15 minutes to do, well, 9 miles. And that is because, yeah, the speed restrictions within T's yard itself, of course. Yeah, I think we can gain a little more speed. Or at least not lose any. And we're now going downhill again on a 1 in 170, so yeah, I suspect our speed will start to climb, and it is. And one thing you will notice when we are in T's yard is that yeah, it's full of shipping containers and we turn up with a load of aggregates, so yeah, our freight isn't exactly what they would be expecting here. Well, I suppose yeah, at T's yard we would be taking yeah, freight containers out rather than bringing them in, so yeah, I suppose this could work. So Yarm is looks like a station, a very small one. We'll start coasting again. So we are losing speed, but not a particularly fast rate, because we are still going downhill on this 1 in 170. So this is surely Yarm. It looks like it is an actual station. Well, let's give them a bit of the max thrash. Yeah, I mistimed that a bit. Right, so 50 mph limit coming up. That's fine. We can probably get down to that from coasting, even if we are still on this 1 in 170 downhill section. So Eagles Cliff station coming up. This is quite a sizable viaduct slip we are on. So, yep, no braking needed. We are well below the 50 limit. So that must be Eagles Cliff station that's up ahead there. So very clearly the entrance point to TGR is very different to the exit point, because yeah, when I did my test run 3.7 miles from TGR, I was still actually within TGR itself. I wasn't at the yeah, I was 3.7 odd miles from the starting point in there. So here is Eagles Cliff station. So we have double yellows here. So the finishing point must be at the main sort of like access area. Yeah, the main sort of like entrance So we're not actually going to be driving through T's yard on this one, which is a shame, but oh well. Just means I'll have to do another one at some point where we start within T's yard. Oh bollocks, did I miss that? Yeah, I did. The emergency brakes have kicked in. I missed the AWS. So it's turning us into the yard anyway. And as soon as I get the chance, I'll get us up and running again. Right. Let's try this again once the brakes have come off. There we go. Bloody hell, they take their time coming off. Right, there we go. Well, one thing's for sure, considering how hard the emergency brakes come on, we didn't derail, so yeah. The brakes on this thing are certainly better than they are on the 58. And of course, I say that as somebody who likes the 58. So, slightly delayed, but now we are at least making our way into T's yard itself. So while this says we can go up to 55 once we're in there, there is no point because yeah, this 45 comes along. So we will treat this section as 45 mph section. Yeah, as we have all the steady sort of like speed decrease increments coming up. So we're now in the 45 section. 35 mph limit comes along in just over half a mile. We need to bring our speed down to 20 a bit lively because it's less than half a mile away. So yeah, we'll start braking for this 20 mph section. So across the River Tees. So we've just entered the 35 mph zone, but yeah, we've certainly needed to brake for the 20, as that's coming up very soon afterwards. So another yellow, and this time I was in the cab to catch the AWS. I think we're going slow enough so that if the next one is red, we will be able to stop in time. So that red there is for, yeah, this line next to us. This line here is part of the way out, I'm sure of it. So Tees Yard arrival is coming up very soon. In fact, that might be where we have to stop, but I thought our stopping area would be a yellow section, not an orange. Yeah, the arrival say 0.32, and that's where that signal is. So yeah, we've got the yellow here, this signal here is bound to be a red. So yeah, that section there, the Tees Yard arrival, is where we need to stop. So we'll continue coasting because there's no need to put any extra speed on. Although, I mean, if we start going too low, you know, like below 10, then yeah, I might but yeah, we're on flat ground, so we should be fine. So here we are, we're on the arrival yeah, the arrival sort of strip. And there we go. So this is by no means the whole of Tees Yard. There is plenty more to be seen. So yeah, I think at some point we'll have to do another freight run, but this time we'll be starting at Tees Yard rather than finishing there. But there we go. That was the Class 60. Starting at York, whatever it was called. I forget. I forget the actual part that we were stopped at, and yeah, finishing at Tees Yard. So yeah, speeding only once. Yeah, penalty brakes we know about, but that's yeah because I wasn't in the cab when the AWS went off. And wheel slippage, yeah, 0.1% of the time. I can take that. I think I did alright on that run actually. So there we are. Good run, I did like that one. And it was a proper freight run. Start and finish at freight locations, and we were treated as a freight train from start to finish. Always stuck in the slow lanes. If there was other traffic on the lines, we would have been given lowest priority. So yeah, it's well done. especially for a root that is freeware. Cannot complain about it at all. So there we are. That is that one done. Yeah, the link to download this root will be in the description if you fancy getting it. Just make sure that you have all of the Dovetail Games DLC that are required before installing it. There we go. Right, we shall see you at the next one.